Okay, I'm going to do part 2 of my review of the raid prizes. Mainly because, well, Easy Big cut me off on the icebreaker. I hate how that limits that on the video time, but and I've noticed that Kixeye has done some changing of the stats on the rockets, so it pretty much ignore everything that you saw on the last vid on the icebreaker. Let's see here. Now, and I'm going to show you why. Where's that coaxial firestorm? Oh yeah, well, let me limit this. Rockets. There we go. See, the coaxial firestorm has a 5-second reload, 3,920 damage, 68 range, which was far superior. Well, though building a wall damage to 7,840, which was far superior to this D100S as of when I was doing the last vid. But since then, Kixeye has modified this one. This one now has a reload time of 1 second. That's really fast with a 6,672 damage, a salvo of 3, range of 68, and the range wasn't that good before. I think the range was 57 before, and the reload time used to be 5 seconds. So Kixeye modified this and actually made it a better rocket. It is heavier than the coaxial firestorm. Let's see here. 112. It's got a lot more splash and spread than the coaxial firestorm. Also, now, if you notice, the rocket range on this has been decreased from 60% to 30%. So, they didn't like my 109 range I was getting with the coaxial firestorms. I calculated this out, and that's only like an 80.4 range if I've done this correctly. Let me redo this to make sure. 68 range. Yep. 68 range multiplied by 30% is a 20.4, so we add the 20.4 to the 68. It's an 88.4 range. Alright, well, so now you don't want to use the coaxials at all if you're going to use this to auto any targets at all. If you use the coaxials and use this to auto, it's going to stop at that 90 range for the secondary weapon on the mortar, and it's just going to fire mortars. No rockets. Which may be good. I doubt it because you're losing a lot of damage. The mortar is only 3,678, plus it don't have near the splash or the spread. Spread is your friend on turrets and everything. It does have a salvo of 3, a reload time of 5 under special abilities. That's for the mortar. As now the the D100S siege rockets are the way to go now on the icebreaker. So I'm going to load this up. With these weapons. Okay. Now, Let's load up some specials. We want Speed System 5 on here. Evade bonus of 15. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and throw Agility 4 on, because I still think that we're going to need that stun and flow resist. It puts my evade up to 56%, not bad. This is probably an either or item, Siege Battery 3 or that Garrison MKX. I'm going to see what it looks like with this Garrison MKX. HVR is not going to be a issue on rockets, because the rockets fly very fast anyway, so I wouldn't consider that. I might consider this narrowed firing aperture, splash of 55%. The bad thing is that it has a corrosive damage increase of 45%, which would do no good on rockets. Let's see what else we got. Concussive. Now here's a variant that y'all probably have forgotten about. It does add some sonar range of 20, explosive hits submerged increases 50%. That's a special that you could use to make those rockets hit subs underwater, if you chose to do that. Let's see here. You could also use viscosity regulator to increase the splash by 50%. Incendiary shells is another one y'all may have forgotten about. Increases splash by 62%, but also makes the a fire field. It's a 10% chances on fire field, which would actually help a little bit. Let's see here. I might actually do that. Let me scroll down here. Do we have a res trigger on this? Slow resistance, field fire field chance 10%, field resistance. Duplicate ore for 5. We do not have a res trigger on the aura. Now this aura, that's going to be pretty significant. A rocket reload of plus 10%, plus 25% turn speed, projectile speed of plus 10%, combat speed plus 25%, penetrative and explosive defense of both plus 15%, and that's stackable up to 5. So just on a projectile speed you can get a plus 50% with 5 of these in the fleet. Combat speed plus 125%, which is pretty significant. In turn speed 2, rocket reload, you'd get a plus 50%. That's some pretty significant buffs. That's encouraging you to run 5 in a fleet. 125% combat speed buff. Dadgum, that would stick that up well up there around 85 to 90 combat speed. Let me see here. 41 times 125%. Okay, plus that's 51.25 plus 41 equals. Oh, I messed up. 51.25. I did say 51.25, didn't I? I don't remember. We'll just redo this. 41 times 1.25, 125%, equals 51.25. That's correct. Okay, now we add that to 41. And that's 92.25 combat speed. 92 combat speed. Dadgum, those things are going to be speedy. Let's see here. And that's just where we're sitting now. Did I put Garrison MKX on? Okay. Let's just bump this. Now I'm going to put a little resist on here. Explosive and penetrative resist. That puts my explosive and penetrative resist at plus 82%. Now we're going to use these new armor panels, which you're going to want this really tanked up to be an auto haul. And I'm going mostly explosive because the penetrative, they give you a lot more bonuses with this. You get a penetrating armor pool of 1,886,250. That's above your existing 20,812 armor. Now, the explosive, you only get 500,000 armor on the armor pool. Now, also, you only get 10,000 explosive damage reduction, where on the missile armor you get 37,725 penetrative damage reduction. Now, the damage reduction, as stated in my last vid, does not stack, but the armor pool does. By me using 3 of the C1X, I've got looks like 1.5 million explosive armor pool and a 1.886 million penetrative armor pool. That looks pretty good. This is probably what I would end up suggesting running on an icebreaker. The damage gonna be way up there. 62,983. We got a rocket reload of plus 100, so that's automatically bringing this 1 second down to a half a second. Once you skull out, you add another 300% for rank, which stacks on top of that. You're going to have about 700% rocket reload by the time it's done. Yeah, you're going to be slapping right up against the minimum reload of probably around, I think it's 0.2 seconds, 0.2 of a second. Got the extended rocket range at 30, which we discussed, what your range would be. Explosive damage of plus 18. Splash of plus 62. Building damage of plus 65%. That's good. They buffed that a little bit, it looks like. I would say this is looking pretty good. Assault DPS of 1.5 or 1,000. 1500. Siege DPS at 3800. Okay, well, I guess the incendiary shells only mortars will work on as far as creating the fire fields. But you got a plus 62% splash increase from that, and it's light compared to the other specials. Well, that's actually pretty good. Let's see here, and then you're going to have an extra plus 50% rocket reload, plus 50% projectile speed, plus 125% combat and turn speed. 5 times 15. Well, my brain ain't gonna work on that at the moment. Let's see here. 5 times 0.15. Oh, like I said, my brain ain't gonna work on that, but let's see here. 5 times 5 is 25. So you're going to have about 75% explosive and penetrative defense increase on top of that with 5 of these in the fleet. Since all these stats right here are stackable. That's actually going to be a pretty mean little haul. I don't see how Kixeye is going to restrict this to tier 4 only targets if you do up this build with this charged armor. That charged armor is going to be a game changer thing, and it's going to be a must even on the tanks for the skill holes. It's going to be interesting to see how things go. I think if you don't get any of this armor, you're going to regret it. But that's my review of these raid prizes and everything. I hope this is informative.